So the UK has left the EU. I'm sure things will be fine. Oh, well, at least there'll be a new Conservative leader. Oh dear God.
The total number of votes cast in favour of Remain was 16,141,241. The total number of votes cast in favour of Leave was 17,410,742. This means that the UK has voted to leave the European Union.
So let's break it down. 51.9% of the UK voted to leave the EU, while 48.1% voted to stay. Now, it doesn't matter where you stand on this issue because we are leaving the EU. That's just going to happen. But this video is about what's happened since. So let's start with the man himself, David the Dodgy Dave Cameron. As previously promised, David Cameron has resigned as Prime Minister, not wanting anything to do with the whole leaving the EU fiasco. Well, at least he's keeping to his word, even though it was a dumb word to suggest, because there are at least, 6 people in England who would vote leave the EU just to see David Cameron resign. And this is where all the buzz about Boris the Zipline Johnson has come from. Thanks to his involvement in the Leave campaign, he is now an unofficial candidate for the leader of the Conservative Party, which could lead to him becoming Prime Minister. Next, we have Scotland, which on its own voted 62% to remain in the EU. So they're a bit understandably pissy at the moment. Now, it was only a few years ago that Scotland came to the undecisive conclusion that they wanted to remain a part of the UK during their own referendum. And as Nicola, the Queen of Scots Sturgeon, pointed out, Scotland feel like they're being forced out of the EU against their own will, which they kind of are, which means they want to hold another referendum, which could very well lead to Scotland exiting the UK. When and even if this referendum will happen, no one knows yet. But it is important to note that it is definitely a possibility. Probably probable. And then there's this guy, Jeremy No-Show Corbyn, who did nothing, but could have. Labour have basically blamed him for not leading the Labour Party properly. This has led to the motion of a vote of no confidence in Corbyn, which means we could very well see a new Labour leader as well as a new Conservative leader. Oh, and the pound is pretty much useless at the moment, which will probably pass, just don't go exchanging your money this week. Not much actually happens now. We have to wait for Cameron to push through Article 50, which is the official way to leave the EU. That way, a 2-year negotiation can start in order to come to the conclusion on what on earth is going to happen. Which is the equivalent of breaking up with your girlfriend, but first telling both Facebook, Twitter, her family, her friends, and her cat that you've broken up, and then sending a text to her, and then waiting 2 years to decide who gets to keep that before-mentioned cat. Who knows, in 5 years we may want to rejoin the EU. I'm doubtful that would happen, as I assume it'll go a little something like this.
Is it too late now to say sorry? It's too late to apologize.
We are never, ever, ever getting back together.
It's sad, so sad. It's a sad situation.
But who knows, maybe we'll Beyonce it out and have a very successful solo career. Or crash and burn like Spice Girls' Mel C. I'm kidding, she's had a very successful career performing shows on the West End, and I'm sure she's very happy. To sum up, Cameron, sad. Farage, happy. And you are fine. So go you. Please do leave your political opinions in the most hateful way possible in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, check out my next video on what will happen now we have left the EU.